The following is an exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League. On this episode of the Panthers Huddle, Coach Canales is here as the Panthers gear up for a home showdown with the Cowboys. Plus, TD breaks down Dallas in the film room and hear why Kristen compares rookie tight end Mitchell Evans to a comic book villain. Welcome inside the Panthers Huddle.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us inside the Panthers Huddle. Kristen Balboni, you already know this guy right here, Panthers legend Thomas Davis, TD. Huge comeback win right here at Bank of America Stadium against Miami. What stood out the most to you in that big win?
Without a doubt, it's the dominance in the run game. Rico Dowdle did an amazing job of keeping us in this game and ultimately allowing us to get back into this game.
Just what exactly made him such an effective runner in this game? Because we saw him break off these huge runs.
You know, it was really the aggressive nature and the style and the way that he ran the football. He had a relentless effort in the way that he approached this game that Miami defensive players wanted nothing to do with.
Now, Chuba Hubbard was day-to-day with the calf injury. He is still day-to-day with that calf injury. I know that if you're this coaching staff, you have a lot of comfort in Rico Dowdle. What happens when Chuba gets healthy? Do you know now, hey, we got a two-headed monster?
You know, we understood coming into this season what we had in both of these players. We just didn't really know how they would perform together. But we know what Chuba is capable of. We watched him do it for years in this system. So now it's all about being able to go out and, you know, find that healthy balance of putting both of these guys on the field and trying to see how it all gels out for the rest of the season.
One thing I want to ask you about, Rico came out with this quote where he said he asked offensive coordinator Brad Idzik to run a couple plays. He said, I wanted to run this inside zone, which he broke off for a huge gain. What does it mean when players are going in with confidence to the coaches and saying, hey, coach, I feel really comfortable with this, and then it paying off?
Listen, it's a huge component for a coach whenever a player comes to you and asks for certain things, and then they're able to go out and execute it at a high level because it gives you confidence in your play calling. But also, for me, I know a lot. When I was a player, I always wanted to start the game within the first 5 plays with a blitz because I felt like that would get me going. That would get me, like, playing downhill as a linebacker. And Coach McDermott, he understood that too, and he implemented that within our play calling. So that was something that definitely got me going as a player. And now you see with Rico Dowdle, with him being able to bust out these big runs and break tackles like this, that's something with the inside zone or something that he probably did in Dallas that he really enjoyed doing. And now it's paying off for us here in Carolina.
When TD wants to blitz, you blitz. When Rico wants to run the inside zone, that is what you do. And hey, congratulations to Rico Dowdle right there. NFC Offensive Player of the Week, and very well deserved, TD.
Very much so deserved. I mean, without a doubt, you know, seeing him go out and dominate the way that he did, I wanted to see him break D'Angelo's record, but what better week, Rico, to do it than this week versus Dallas? I would love to see him be the all-time single-game rushing leader in Panthers history.
And that was, I think, 210. He got to 206, so just 4 yards away. Yeah, I could see him eyeing that record. And as you've said a couple of times, he is going up against his former team this week, Dallas Cowboys. They are coming into town on Sunday. And TD, here's what he had to say about facing the Cowboys.
Just a matchup, another game. Happens to be the Cowboys, and definitely looking forward to it.
You said buckle up, though, last week.
Yeah, no, they got to buckle up. You know, stand on that. That was just meaning it's going to be a very physical game from my end. I know from my end. Just take pride in that. Buckle them chin straps up tight, and I will be coming.
TD, buckle those chin straps. What do you think?
Listen, I love it. I love it when a player brings that kind of enthusiasm and that kind of energy and looks forward to going against his old team. I think it's a little, it's a little revenge type deal in that with, I want to show y'all what y'all missing, what y'all got rid of, and what y'all have to get ready to face. Rico is a kid that's very passionate. You knew what he was bringing to the Dallas Cowboys, but now we get to see what he can bring to the Carolina Panthers, and Dallas is going to feel him. They better really buckle those chin straps up. If he runs like he did last weekend, it's going to be a tough matchup for him.
If you're a player that has that extra motivation, can you ever overdo it? Like, can you ever overthink it too much?
Nah, you
Good.
can't.
Okay,
you can't.
good to
You can
know.
go out. You can use that as motivation. A lot of times you'll see players go out with vengeance on their mind, and it can become a nuisance. But I feel like Rico is a calm, level-headed kid. He's not gonna go out and get overly excited before the game, because that's what you see sometimes in guys. And we know that he had some cramp issues later in the game, but that's one of the things that if you exert too much energy and too much excitement before you actually get going and jawing and talking at your team, you can end up with some cramp issues. But other than that, I think the adrenaline level is going to be there. He's going to go out and he's going to compete at a high level.
Were you a pickle juice guy if you got a cramp?
Absolutely not.
No.
I was more of an IV guy,
Okay.
just make sure I'm getting the IVs in, because that's the fastest way to get it done. So.
Okay, good to know. TD, not a fan of the pickle juice. All right, well, the Cowboys are certainly bringing a lot of weapons. And TD, I know you wanted to touch on Dak Prescott. What do you see from him? What do the Panthers defense need to look out for?
Listen, Dak is a guy that just continues to get the job done. You hear a lot of talk about him playing for that team. He went down with an injury last year, but he's back. He's running the ball at a high level, as you see right now. He's throwing the ball with accuracy down the field, and we know he lost one of his weapons, but he's found a new weapon in George Pickens. He's getting the ball to him. Ferguson is another guy that he's getting the ball to. So he's definitely distributing the ball around to his weapons, and we got to make sure that we're always in tune when Dak has the ball in his hand, because there is that component of him pulling it down at any point and picking up extra yardage.
They are averaging something like 400 yards a game, #1 ranked offense in the NFL when it comes to yards per game. As a defense, you said all the things that you need to be aware of. How do you slow that down fast? I imagine you want to establish that right off the bat.
We talked about it. You got to make them one-dimensional. If you make them one-dimensional, take that run game away first and foremost, you can get after the quarterback like we saw against Miami late in this game last week.
We know the Panthers are capable of that after giving up just 19 yards in the last game. All right, we got a lot coming your way, but right now, take a look at this. I got a chance to sit down with rookie tight end Mitchell Evans. Hope you enjoy it. Congrats on the big one on Sunday, the game winner, the best spike I've seen in a long time.
Tried my best.
It was like you were like the Thanos from just the energy that was coming out of the.
Tried my best.
So that's 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks. I imagine you kept the ball from the first one.
I did. I cut the ball.
Did you get to keep this one too?
I did not, because I spiked it, and I didn't even know I spiked it that far
Sure.
or hard. I just spiked
You're in the
it,
moment.
and then I blacked out. Really had no idea what was going on.
You celebrated.
Did celebrate, because throughout the week, the tight ends, Tommy, JC, and James, and I were all just joking, we had dances, planned, and well, if you scored, do this, whatever. And mine were pretty silly, but those all went out the window because I couldn't process what was going on.
You'll have time. What was the dance? Will we see it again?
No, if I score and if I don't black out, maybe we'll see it.
Okay.
But they told me you probably shouldn't do that because it would be counted as a tight end embarrassment. So they're pretty goofy. But
well, odds are that we might see it soon. I'm hoping it's goofy. Please let this be goofy. Whenever it happens, we'll get to run it back and ask you about it.
Coming up, Kristen Valboli sits down with Coach Dave Canales as the Panthers defend their dirt against the Dallas Cowboys on the Panthers Huddle. This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers Television Network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, the official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
We are back here on the Huddle, and always pleased to be joined by head coach Dave Canales. Coach, going back to Sunday's huge comeback win over the Dolphins, so many great moments in that game, but I'm wondering if you have one moment or one play that just really sticks out to you as Panthers football.
Hard to pick. There was a lot
of
great moments in that game. It's hard for me not to talk about Rico Dowdle and the offensive line and the challenge that they took on themselves to be able to run the ball the way that we want to run with violence, to run with attitude. And it really was all 11. It really was a full group effort, whatever personnel, multiple tight ends, multiple receivers, running the ball out of all of those personnels. Everybody had a role in contributing to that. Jimmy Horn on the jet sweep, whether he was getting the ball or not, had an effect. When the group comes together like that to say, this is who we can be, this is attitude, this is pure just, we want it more. Those are the moments to me that mean so much. And on the flip side of it, talking about the run game, the way that our defense executed another great run plan, where everyone was where they were supposed to be, playing physical up front, knocking back edges, running like crazy to make up for if someone got blocked, to fill in the voids. The way that our team ran the ball and played the run, that's exactly the type of mentality that we want to have as the Panthers football.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers and you look at Rico Dowdle had over 200 yards on the ground, and this defense gave up 19 rushing yards, which is the second fewest rushing yards ever given up by a Panthers defense. When you walk into that locker room and you see them and you say, this is the way we want to play Panthers football, how proud does that make you as a coach?
Yeah, so proud. And also I could feel their pride because of the hard work that it takes to execute a plan like that. All the conversations in the week, the walkthroughs, the meetings, the practices. Sometimes a run gets out on you in practice. Are they talking about it? Are they fixing it on the side? And they really care. They really care about what's happening. They care to work together, because that's the only way that you can play good football, is if all 11 are on the same page. And to see the payoff of it, that locker room was a celebration. And it should be that way. Each game, when you have those successes, you celebrate the heck out of it. And we're proud of it. And then also you got to have the mentality, can we do it again? And here's how we did it, by our process, by our preparation. And then we go out here and we execute together.
As someone who wants to run the ball, and that being a team philosophy, you see Rico Dowdle have this incredible game, and you know that you have Chuba Hubbard coming back eventually. What does that do for you as a play caller, now seeing what Rico is capable of over a whole game?
Yeah, it just makes me excited that I can call any play, any style of run, regardless of who's in. I don't have to change what I'm calling because of the style of player that we have. We have two violent runners, and we found out a lot about Rico here in this past game. But for me, it just gives me so much freedom to be able to call whatever's on the call sheet.
We've talked a lot about culture and identity, and you really, defining that with this team. And to me, I think about culture being something that we may not see, right? There are these big plays, but things that are happening on the field and off the field that you notice. So what I thought we could do is take a look at two plays that may have gone unnoticed by fans. It's your wide receivers blocking. So I'm going to direct your attention to the screen. The first one we're going to look at is Xavier Legette. I know just how happy you were for him in the game that he had. So Coach, take us through what you see here.
Yeah, we're asking for all 11 to explode off the ball and attack, and it's just another way to assert your physical dominance on a defensive player. It's not just about running great routes and running by people, making explosive plays, but right here you see Xavier, when you can get your hands on a guy, get up underneath his shoulder pads, and he feels that you're 230 pounds, 6'2.5", and you're faster than him, it just sends a little bit of a message. It's kind of like you're sizing each other up almost in the run game. And so, and also we need these guys on the second level to be able to have great runs like the one that Rico just had right here.
And then Tetairoa McMillan, we have a block from him as well. What's it like seeing your rookie come out and excel not just in the passing game, but be willing to do these kinds of things like this right here?
Yeah, we got to have it. This is something that we're asking all of our guys to do. This is your contribution, whether it's Jimmy Horn on a jet sweep, whether he's getting the ball or not to affect the defense, or whether we're asking our leading receiver to block on the perimeter, get his hands on a linebacker or a safety. This is your contribution. Are you selfless? Are you willing to do whatever it takes so that we can have success in the game? And this is the mentality that we love, that we want to embrace for all of our guys.
All right, Coach, you've let me wax poetic about this incredible win, but I know that this team is deep in planning for the Cowboys, and as you said, it is the next game. So talk to me about Brian Schottenheimer and what kind of coach he is, what you're expecting from him.
He's an amazing football coach. One thing that Shotty taught me when we had our time in Seattle is your levels of talent may come and go, but you can always outwork somebody. You can always out-prepare and outwork, and that always stuck with me. I always took that to heart, that he's going to do everything in his power to try to put his team in position to be successful. Watching the different types of schemes that they're deploying, knowing he has Dak Prescott in there, he's going to he's going to formulate an offense that is Dak-centric, that is going to put him in his most comfortable, most confident position. And I know he's going to want to come out of the game running the ball. They like throwing it. They make a ton of yards throwing the ball, but in his heart and soul, it's from his dad. He wants to run that ball, and he's going to try to find his ways to do that.
Shoddy, good to know that that's the nickname. So how do you combat that as a defense, especially seeing what we know this defense is capable of?
Yeah, the different ways that Shoddy's going to try to attack us, it's going to force us to play great fundamental football, great discipline. You're going to be disciplined with your eyes because he's going to get into sets that look just like something else. It's going to look, this run looks like this pass. He's going to have this pass and then another pass that comes off of it. So the complementary style of football and attack on the offensive side, at least, that's the part where we got to be disciplined and be locked into our cues.
Dallas's defense ranks last in yards per game. How much does that affect the way that you're game planning and looking at, okay, this is what they do well, this is what they don't do so well, versus we're going to play our game and I know you want to run the ball?
Yeah, we have to just evaluate their schemes first and foremost and start with the things that we do well. We rarely try to make it too much about the opponent, but we're aware of where those players are at and who's making the plays and who's struggling, who's not making the plays, and we'll take all that information in. But I know Coach Matt Eberflus. I've known him for a long time. He is an excellent football coach. He's attacking. He's got an attacking mindset, but then he also has some just really core coverages, core fronts, where he just asks the guys to play with more effort at times and say, guys, we're not going to run all a million things. I'm just going to ask for more effort from you in these areas. And so I know that's going to present its challenges, and a team that I really respect a lot. And, you know, adding Kenny Clark to the front and having some veteran players, this is a group that's going to figure out how to play ball together, you know, and the way that the games have played out right now, we'll try to take advantage of some of those things as well.
And finally, Coach, Panthers are 2-0 at home. Another opportunity here because Dallas is coming to town. You talked to us last week about how much the players feed off of that. And I think you said they need it, right? They really, really feel great being at home. So what is that going to do for this team who is, you know, on this upward trajectory as you get to look at another game in front of the home crowd?
It's about execution first and foremost. Can we minimize the big, catastrophic, damaging plays? Can we take care of the ball on offense? Can we cover our kicks? Can we eliminate the explosive plays on the defensive side of the ball? And that will travel with us. That will come with us here in Bank of America Stadium. Those are the things that we have to be connected to, that we have to commit to, is the over and over execution, play after play, drive after drive. When we do those things and we make great plays, there's no place like home because the crowd's into it. At the end of last game, it's loud. The Dolphins are trying to function, but the fans were in it all the way to the bitter end, and that's what we're counting on again this week.
Dorothy said it best. There's no place like home. Coach, you are always so generous with your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next, step inside TD's film room as Thomas Davis breaks down Dak and the boys and showcases some of our own comeback kids on the Panthers Huddle.
We want to welcome you now inside TD's film room. TD, you were just talking to us about it, the weapons that Dak Prescott has and how he's been able to connect to guys during CeeDee Lamb's absence. Who do you want to focus on in your film room today?
Listen, we got to start with the former Georgia Bulldog, George Pickens. You know, I'm always talking about these Bulldogs, but George Pickens is a guy that has definitely stepped up in the absence of CeeDee Lamb. He's become Dak's go-to guy. And this is one of the reasons why, as we jump into this film, KB, you'll see that he's a dynamic player. He's capable of stretching the field, and he's not going against a slouch. This is Sauce Gardner that he's going against right now. And Dak is bombs over bad dad right now in getting the ball down the field. And this is the shot area. Defenses have to be smart. When teams get in the middle of the field on that logo, that's what they're going to do. They're going to take a shot, and that's exactly what they do right here on this particular play. And, you know, George Pickens is a guy with an amazing catch radius. He does a great job of coming away with the football and creating separation at the top of it. I know there probably could have been a pass interference offensively, But that's one of the things you got to understand when you're facing an offense like Dallas, that they're not afraid of throwing the ball deep. And that's something that they do often, and that's why they're number one in offensive yardage right now.
They score a lot of points, too. Now, this defense, on the other hand, statistically ranks worst in the NFL in terms of yards per game. So how can the Panthers offense take advantage of that?
KB, you would think going against the offense that loves to throw the ball deep, that likes to practice that way, that this defense would be familiar with playing the deep ball. But for whatever reason, Dallas is not doing a great job of that. And this is one of the examples. As you see right here, Green Bay, with Matthew Golden being the rookie, take your pick right here on who this ball is going to. Because you have two guys that's behind this defense that could have come away with this football. And I don't understand it. Like,
how does that happen?
Listen, it has to be a bust in coverage. It has to be somebody playing one coverage and the other guy's playing a different coverage. But this has been the theme for this defense all season long. Like, if you watch you turn on the tape against the Giants, it's the same thing. You turn on the tape against the Bears, it's the same thing. Time after time after time, this defense is giving up shot plays. They're giving up big yardage. And I don't expect it to be any different this weekend. We just got to find our areas and take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be presented by this defense. Because I know for a fact, I don't expect them to have it fixed this weekend if they haven't done it over the course of these 5 games over the season. And this will be a great opportunity for guys like Jimmy Horn to take advantage and stretching the field. This will be a great opportunity for T-Mac, for XL. Like, this is the chance for Bryce to really show his arm strength and test them down the field and make sure that Dallas is in tune to what's going on now defensively, because they haven't been all season long, KB.
All right, that's Dallas's defense. Let's talk about the Panthers' defense. Great game against Miami. I know that made you very proud. And you told me that you want to take a look right now at one of the rookies who really impressed you.
Listen, we talked about the grading by Pro Football Focus. And for us to have 2 rookies as our top defenders in a dominant defensive effort, I think that really speaks to the maturation process for these young guys. But Nick Scorton is a guy, KB, that we're going to highlight him right here because he deserves to be highlighted. Just watch the awareness that he plays with on this particular play right now. As this ball gets snapped right now, he literally almost gets his hand on this football, but didn't just settle for that. He turned and made the tackle immediately. And you'd love to see young players go out, show up, perform, and play at a high level, and then get excited about what they were able to just do. But just watching Nick Scorton and Princely go out and dominate in these football games as the season continues to grow, KB, I'm expecting a lot more from these young guys, and they continue to show up week in and week out. Shout out to Nick, man, for going out and making big plays and doing things exactly the Panther way. I'm excited about these young men, KB.
High praise from TD. TD, thank you so much for breaking down that film for us. We appreciate it. Coming up next on The Huddle, we are going to let you know what we are spotlighting when the Cowboys come to Bank of America Stadium on Sunday. You do not want to miss it. We'll see you in just a second.
Closed captioning for the Panthers Television Network is provided by Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates, providing premier eye and ENT care to North and South Carolina.
Welcome back, everybody. It is time now for our Coke Spotlight. TD, we do this every week. I want to know what specifically you are focusing on in this game against Dallas.
KB, my Coke Spotlight goes to Rico Dowdle. It got to be Rico for this week. Playing against your old team, this is going to be a great opportunity for him to go out and shine. And he talked about it. They better buckle up those chin straps. He's going to run hard. He's going to run aggressive. And he's going to show Dallas exactly why they made the mistake of letting him go. I cannot wait to see him go out and perform on Sunday.
What did he say? Buckle up those chin straps. I will be coming.
That's
I like
right.
that, and I know you like that too. TD, for my Coke Spotlight, I'm going to go with this D-line. I mean, they gave up 19 rushing yards. The whole defense did 19 rushing yards in this game against Miami. You talked about those young edge rushers, Princely Umamielen and Nick Scorton earlier. How about that interior, TD?
Listen.
Derek Brown, A'Shawn Robinson. I am watching Derek Brown. I can't even imagine what you think. I'm watching him going, oh my gosh,
Listen, DB is back. You know, seeing him go out and perform the way that we know he's capable of performing, you love to see that from a guy coming back from an injury like he sustained last year.
And they said that he asked Coach Canales for more pass rush opportunities. So you know he wants to get in there and
Absolutely.
tee off. We love it. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for watching the Panthers Huddle. Thank you to Coach Canales for joining us, and thank you to my amazing co-host, TD. We'll see you next time, but until then,
keep pounding.
You've been watching the Panthers Huddle, a copyrighted presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL.